2 years ago, me and my friends happened to travel to a small village in the northwest regions of Vietnam. And in the mountain area, there is a lot of ethnic group people. And we happened to see these small little schools, which is about 30 square meters only for 30 children. And at that time, they have little space basically to learn, and they want to draw, but they cannot afford papers and crayons. And after the meeting with them, me and my friend coming back and have a very serious meeting about let's build school. And at that time, we 5 women basically fully employed in insurance, banking, investment. We're not really sure about school and construction building. We're not knowing about architecture. And basically we have no money, not anything. So at that time, we're just thinking about how can we build a school. And then one person said, well, if you cannot pay for it, then ask someone to pay for it. So we did. We go on Facebook. We put on some information about the school. And then we write to them about asking them to contribute to our project of building this school. And absolutely, at that time, Facebook was more, attractive than a crowdfunding platform and cheaper, free. So basically, that's how we used to communicate. But what we learned from doing this project is we divided the people involved in the project in 3 targets. The first one is the organizer, which means us and anyone who hosting this project. The second one is the beneficiary, obviously the children and the teacher, the school. And the third one is the donors, stakeholders, anyone interested in the project, because we believe doing one project can bring beneficiary not only to them, but to everyone involved. And so we put this story on Facebook and having run some few crowdfunding campaigns. And at that time, we aim at working people because, students, they very enthusiastic, but they cannot pay or, have a lot of financial capacity to build a school. And business people, office ladies, actually, they spend a lot of time surfing Facebook, and they can use a little, use it more effectively by helping us to do some good things. And after about 3 months, we were able to raise $12,000 from scratch to build a school, which is perfect. And one good thing I learned about that is people are actually very kind and supportive, given that you give them a chance to do and give them a chance to join hand with you. And our first project was a huge success, and we think that now we believe more in life and humanities. Not that gloomy news feeding with people getting killed or environment being polluted, but with people actually supporting and encouraging each other. So we came to the second project. This one is also accidentally we saw this school too. And in the further areas in the northern and borders between Vietnam and China. And it's even poorer. And to build a school, we need $20,000. So for us, the first project was about the beneficiary, which are the students who received the schools, and also to us who first time learn how to function the project. And this time, when we organized the project, we turn it into a free playground where they can be creative with what they can do. Because one of the donors used to tell us that, I want to help you a lot, but I don't have money. And what we want to do is we want to show them that they don't really need cash in hand or money to help in doing good things. They can be creative, they can be anything. And they really are. So after we launched that campaign about you can do whatever as long as you can help to build a school. Some people, an artist, she hosts a drawing sessions to fundraising. An artist, she hosts a whole week of musical events for raising awareness and also fundraising. A cameraman, he sold up his plans to donate the money. And a very special case where a young freelancer offered herself to do work to earn the donations. And then she got recognized and earned a project in Cambodia, which is amazing. So when they involve in the project, it's not only about the student, they themselves earn something. And when we have people telling us that thank you for giving us a chance to give you money. That means they benefit from it. And so the second school was also built perfectly. This was the photos back from one of our donors from Japan, and he just visited recently. But just something was off. So we built 2 schools. And then, I don't know if because our slogan was, it started with the school, we receive a lot of inquiries. So they now not only need schools, they need textbooks, they need teachers who can actually teach them. They need access to more information because otherwise they still drop out from school and they cannot, even they graduated, they cannot compete with students in the cities for higher educations. And then their parents are too poor to really offer them the chance to go to school. And this was really overwhelming because one school doesn't make that much difference as we expected. And a lot of people think that it was already a very sustainable way to support them by education. But it's not, it's just the beginning. So after 2 years, I stopped building the school. First reason is I want to reviews on how we can do it better. Second, because thanks to the project, I also have an opportunity for a scholarship to Japan, which is for my own. And then I was thinking about who are the really beneficiaries from these projects. It's us who learn how to function a project, who get connected to very kind people. There are donors who really got offer from employers who really interested in their work, in showing their kindness. Those who really have a good reputation for involving in the project. But then I realized that the students who should be the primary beneficiary may not be the one who benefit the most from this kind of project. So when I travel to Japan, what I can see is Japan have a very good sense of communities that they willing to involve themselves to solve their own problem. And in the program that I'm studying, they have this motto that community can solve what community can, and the government can offer them the space to do it. And that's when we learn that if it's not come from the inner of the communities, we can never solve the problem. We can keep building the school. Like I used to think, oh, I will build 1 school per year. But then I realized that in the mountain, there are about 20 schools. So after I finished building the 20 schools, I had to go back to build the first one. So this circle may not end if the people in that community do not act for themselves. And a lot of people tell us that, oh, because it's Japan, they can do it. It's not Vietnamese. But I don't think so. So on my way doing the second project, I happened to visit a very small village close by this school. And in that village, they are making a product, like handmade from the linen fabric, and it's all from natural ingredients, which look really interesting. And a lot of tourists have been visiting this village. So I came to the village and asked for their story because the environment in Viet is so different. The women are happy. The man and the woman in the village, blend in together, because if you have been to those ethnic group in the mountain, you can see that women mostly working outdoor in the field and the men just sitting in one place drinking. They do not, really support it. But it's different in this village. So I came and asked, and so they shared the story about in 1990, 5 women of this village decided to make a change to their life. And they get together to make a linen fabric cooperative where the woman can work extra time outside of farming to make some fabric, firstly raw fabric to sell to the market. It started with 5 women only, and it's not easy for them. For the first years, they have to win against the traditions, because in some village, women are not allowed to communicate outside the village, or they can do business. They have to stay in the kitchen doing the house chore. But in the village, it's different. The women decided to stand up for themselves. The first years, the men burned their linen field, and they even burned their weaving frame because they don't want them to do it. They don't believe the woman can really sell something outside of crops and farming products. So the first 3 years, was very different until one day they earned some money from the products. And the head of the cooperative visited one house. She did not call out the wife who actually do the work. She called out the husband and say, "This is the money that your wife had been earned by doing these products." And from that moment on, the man led the woman to build and, to continue her work with the line and fabric, which is an exception in many other villages. And so after 16 years, nowadays they have 130 members, all women working in this, plus one male member, which is already a very progressive toward gender equalities in this village. And their work have been very well known in many other countries. But because they haven't known how to make a branding for themselves, they haven't known how to really develop it to a marketplace. Basically, they do it and then they just sell it to a retailer. So few people know about it. But what interests me the most is the community here is very united and they really stand up to solve their own problem. And that's what I found missing in my two previous projects. Because in my previous project, when I came to the village, they feel too ashamed to let us photograph their house, which they believe is not beautiful. And they are too, they're too shy. They always say that we are too poor to do anything. We cannot do anything. We are very low educated. And that's what we don't really want to hear from them. They're actually adult. They can solve the problem too. But maybe we took away their opportunity to solve the problem by offering our help without asking them. So for the first two projects, I involved my friends, I involved the donors, the stakeholders, but I forgot to involve the people who can, join hands at some point too. And that's why we make this change this year. So this year I came back to the village and asked them for some help. And what we're trying to do is to know what they really need from us, to really help them leverage their business with the fabric and how we can support them with, increasing their economic life, and also the children can get to start to school. We've been there since October, and after a while, we learned that they want to have a better working place so they can enlarge the cooperative, not only to 130 members, but 400 members, and also training class for the next generations, which is very interesting. And so this is where I learned the lessons that giving is not better as enabling. Sometimes we give, but we unconsciously take away the chance to solve their own problem. But if we enable them to think and enable them to reach to their potentials, we can learn something too. And we are not only the one who give them, but we also receive the lesson from them. So I believe that everybody here can start a project to build a school like we did. But let's take an extra step of asking them and involve them in the project so that we can enable them to everybody and enable you, us, and them to continue the process instead of we giving them something and then left them misled when we left. Thank you.